What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some big catalysts affecting the overall market, what you should be watching for as we approach tomorrow for NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, when it comes to NIO, this thing's been uptrending quite nicely so far, but we're going to be watching this resistance at this 5.9 area to see how NIO ends up reacting. Now, this thing's been on an uptrend quite nicely, but the volume is slowing down a bit, and as we're getting closer to 5.9 to 6, we're seeing this thing slowing down little by little. Now, looking at the overall market, although the market had a very, very big red day, it wasn't like necessarily like a big red day, but it's like we kind of pumped at first, and we saw a big drop after that. We did close a little bit in the red, but because we pumped so much in the beginning, the red didn't appear to be as big as how big it actually was. So in a way, it was a big red day, but on paper, it didn't seem as big. I'll kind of clarify that a little bit later into the video. Excuse me. So I'll talk a little bit more about that on SPY, but I just want to break down that the market is adding more baggage to stocks like NIO, as there is a risk of some downside coming. So I want to break down more details about that, but let's first go over some data and such. So for tomorrow, okay, it's going to be Monday, March 11th. First and foremost, we have consumer inflationary expectations, which is very minor data, not to mention the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions. So expect some volatility around 10 a.m. And after that, the market might just consolidate a bit as we approach Tuesday, which is going to be the CPI day. So Tuesday is going to be a very important day. We have CPI coming out, not to mention core CPI, and that's going to be very important. That's like the main piece of data coming out for Tuesday, March 12th. As far as earnings go, we just have like Ballard and just a few others coming out. We have LTech and just very, very minor earnings for Monday. Oracle comes out after the market closes alongside Cases, just a few others, but nothing too crazy. The market fear and greed index is currently at greed. We went from extreme greed to just greed right now, and we'll have to see how well this holds. We just know that the VIX is trying to hover above its 50 daily moving average, and we'll see how well it holds above this, if you get some kind of breakout or not. We'll be watching for this as it affects the markets. I'm not really seeing much on NIO's Twitter page. I've been looking through it. I haven't really seen anything, so we'll have to see if anything changes by tomorrow. But I am seeing some negative news. One Wall Street analyst cut its NIO price target by 27%. This is very important because investment bank Bernstein has never been a huge fan of NIO. They were a little bit bearish on NIO in the past, and they're still continuing to say the same things. Basically, an analyst known as Eunice Lee, I may be saying his name wrong. I'm going to apologize for that. I'm sorry, it's a her, so it's a she, not a he. Sorry about that, guys. But basically, she came out and she cut her price target on NIO by a whopping 27% from $7.50 to just $5.50, trading at $5.74. That is once again not the best of news. With this negative news coming out, this can be a little bit negative for NIO, so just be very careful as this thing approaches its resistance. So with this analyst coming out, she is downgrading NIO to some extent, so just be very careful. Bernstein has come out. They're saying it's going to perform with the market, but there is a risk of NIO coming down because of this. On top of this, the price-price ratio is kind of flat right now, only at this low level, so we'll have to see if this changes. In terms of seasonality, just remember that when it comes to the way things are moving, Mondays tend to be green about 50% of the time, and then we'll see what happens after that. On top of this, when it comes to monthly seasonality, I just want to let you guys know that March tends to be a weak month for NIO. Historically, we're only green about 37% of the time. Aprils tend to be stronger. But however, at the same time, January and like February tend to be better months. They weren't as strong this year because of some negative news. So we'll see if anything changes for NIO going forward. In terms of hourly seasonality, look for volatility at 11 a.m. and also during the last hour of the trading day. NIO tends to be very volatile during those time frames. For volume, we're at about 39 million, so it's slowing down just a bit, which does increase the odds of some consolidation. And we're not really seeing a change in short volume. So what do I see for the share price? Well, I think that NIO on the overall trend is trying to uptrend, but we have this range to be watching for at this 5.9 resistance. We are trying to break out as we're trying to hold above our 50 EMA. So I think we could pop a little bit. We could be approaching 5.9 to 6. Then we might get a rejection off this 200 EMA because of the overall market and make our way back down towards 5.67. We're very flat and volume is slowing down, so look for a little pop and then drop back down. And I think that's the most likely possibility for tomorrow. Then we might see a lot of consolidation on this 5.6 to 5.5 area as we approach CPI. For SPY is on this little downtrend. We have broken below our 4-hour 20 EMA. So this is going to be key for tomorrow. If we open below this, I think we're going to be testing 509 and then try to bounce off that. We might come down a little bit more and then try to rebound, steal an attempt to rebound. And then what's very likely is we're not going to actually push to break this high. We might establish a lower high. So I find that to be very probable. If we open below the 20 EMA, we come down a little bit and then we get the rebound before we drop down lower. If we open above it, we could rebound first and then come down. But either way, I do see a move like that coming. A little rebound and then a drop. We might drop a little more first and then rebound and then drop later on, or we just kind of pump first and then end up dropping. So watch for that very carefully. On Tesla, the 4-hour is showing some weakness as we're just approaching 172. Tesla might retest 176.5, maybe a little higher and then make its way down, but we got a big rejection off our 20 EMA. So there's a risk of Tesla basically kind of popping and dropping back down to 172. So I think that we might come down to 172, basically, bounce a little bit, rebound a bit, and then start to fall lower, or we could just drop from here. Either way, I do see downside being a very, very likely possibility for Tesla looking at the current technicals, and we'll see what CPI causes after that. But look for a move to like 172, then a bounce, followed by another continuation down, and then it's going to likely continue from there. For that, CPI is going to be another big factor. For Aapl, it's showing a little bit of life and might be retesting 171. We'll have to see if we could break this or not. If we do reject off this and come back down, our next target is going to be 168. So watch 171 to be tested. If we break past the 171 area, we could try to push higher. If we reject off this, we're going to be coming back down to 168. My guts is telling me this is going to pop a bit and then come back down. This might end up slowing down, approaching CPI. Triple Q is looking very similar. We actually closed below our 50 EMA, which is a big sign of weakness. We might retest 436, rebound a little bit, then just continue to sink depending on CPI. So we'll see. I think it might be testing 436 before it tries to rebound a bit. And then we could even drop even lower. So look for a little test right here. See if this thing tries to get a bounce or not. And look for 436. A little reaction should be coming, a little drop. We might rebound a bit off of that, then continue lower later on. So we'll see what happens from there. For Nvda right now is looking relatively weak. Make sure you watch this 844 area. I think it might come down to 844, and then we'll see if it bounces off there or not to retest 885. But watch and see. If we lose 844, we turn a lot more bearish. If we hold it, we could rebound a bit and then continue lower later on. But either way, the chart is looking a bit more bearish to me. Look for this test. Do we bounce off of it first and then come back down? Or do we end up just losing it and then continue to sink? My guts tells me we might be testing that lower level and then rebound a bit and then start selling off even more. All right, guys, that's it for the main 5 I typically go over. With that being said, I just want to thank you all for listening. The market may act as a liability for NIO. NIO may pop a little bit more, retest 5.9 to 6, and then get a rejection, come back down to 5.6 to 5.5, and then we'll see what happens after that. CPI is going to be a big factor, so get ready for that on Tuesday, and then we'll see how things go from there. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one or tomorrow. Thank you, and peace out.